Hello, my name is Angel Martin, and I want to expose in this video presentation the way of installing solar panels and managing the energy system that I believe could work for making solar energy economical. The scope of the proposal exposed is bounded to the region of Spain. Solar energy is believed to be a recent energy source for fighting against climate change, but it has a long history, from 7th century before Christ, where solar rays were used through a magnifying glass to start fire for cooking, passing for its use in an ancient Roman and Greek for warming the famous bathhouses, to the invention of the first version of the actual solar cells we know. Today we can find solar panels created for generating electricity like photovoltaic solar panels or for generating hot as thermal solar panels. That presentation is focused on the first one technology. The solar cells that capture solar powers and generate electricity was invented in 1839 by the French physicist Edmond Becquerel, who discovered the photovoltaic effect while experimenting with a cell made of metal electrodes in a conducting solution. Almost 50 years later, in 1883, American inventor Charles Friis created the first working selenium solar cell. Though we use silicon in cells for modern solar panels, this solar cell was a major precursor to the technology used today. In a way, many physicists played a part in solar cell invention. Becquerel's attribute, but with uncovering the potential of the photovoltaic effect, and Friis with creating the ancestor to all solar cells. But how do the actual solar cells work? When solar rays fall on the solar cell, semiconductor Hall electron pairs are created in the depletion region. Once generated, they are swept by an electric field existing in the region. In this way, the electrons are dragged inside the N regions and the holes to the P region. In the absence of an electric field, the electrons and holes will recombine with each other and a detectable signal will not be generated. The performance of the current solar cells made of polycrystalline silicon reach percentage of 18% in the laboratory. In an industrial scale, this yield decreases between 13% and 50%. However, that is not enough. Just think that the light that falls on the entire planet for 40 minutes is equivalent to all the energy the world consumes in a year. In these prehistoric times, however, reach into new materials and techniques to increase the performance of solar panels is laying the groundwork for a future revolution in the use of solar energy. This study seeks to cross the borders of the laboratory to enter the industry and the energy market. Some will get it, others will fail. Mark K. Baldo of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, USA, assures that the yield can be multiplied by 10, and this could happen in about 3 years. Describes a solar concentrator made as a mixture of two pigments that form a paint spread over plastic or glass. In the future, it is expected that a simple window of a building will be an energy collector, leaving past the light and funneling it into the edge. Research of Paul McEwen of the University of Cornell in New York enters the terrain of the basic science that happens when a carbon nanotube enters to comprise of the construction of a phototide. The nanotube is essentially a tiny pip made of a graphene the size of a DNA molecule. Upon receiving the impact of a laser, the electrons were excited and formed an electric current, energizing other electrons that at the same time which joined the electric current. This tiny nanotube, according to experts, could become the ideal photovoltaic cell because it allows electrons to create more electrons from light. In conventional plates, much energy is lost in the form of heat, which does not happen here. But despite some promising, these invents are still in the laboratory, and the world needs a real solution now against the climate change and the energy poverty. Before showing the proposal, it is important to consider some statistics about the growth of solar energy in the world and in Spain, and in a primary research through a survey. We can see the principal charts to be considered. The key point to extract it from the primary research is that people is not willing to pay more in the electricity bill to save the world, as they don't consider its correlation very positive. That they are intended to pay for an installation of 60,000 watt solar panels is between 3,000 and 6,000 euros. And the principal reason why their homes hasn't more solar panels installed is due to the legal vacuum that it is actually in Spain without regulation. In that chart we can see how has grown the megawatts capacity installed around the world. In recent years, it has grown exponentially. However, in Spain, despite the fact it is one of the sunniest countries of Europe, this growth has been lacked. So the idea proposed in this presentation has three fundamental pillars. First one, it is necessary the government to foment renewable energies and especially the implementation of solar energy through solar panels technology, approving the net balance law and creating the necessary regulation. The owners of solar panels could reduce their electricity bill as the energy of the solar cells their home does not consume would be injected to the electrical network and the price of the electricity injected would be compensated in the bill when the home needs to get energy of the electrical network system. 2. The technology used to help making solar energy economical has to be the existing polycrystalline solar cells, because this technology is the more appropriate for Spain, despite the monocrystalline solar cells are more efficient, are also expensive, and are installed in regions with a few hours of sun, such as Germany or the United Kingdom. It is important to consider the installation of batteries to save the excess of energy of the system. Here the idea is to use recycled batteries because are cheaper than the new lithium batteries and are appropriate for its implementation. The characteristics of a new lithium battery are principally quickly charged and small-sized against the recycled ones, which need more space to be installed and cannot charge quickly. But it is not a problem as the solar energy is absorbed so slowly, and the size is neither a problem as the batteries could be installed in a desert file with enough space. And 3. Letting the consumers associate in order to get scale economies is the third pillar of the proposal for making solar energy cheaper. And that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.